Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes have their new defensive coordinator. It is Matt Patricia, the former longtime NFL coach, former head coach, defensive coordinator. He is taking over for Jim Knowles and is the new Buckeyes DC, as first reported by ESPN, and then on 3, 20% Sports, all the other 11 Warriors, everyone else out there on that front. Again, first reported by ESPN, Pete Thamel saying Ohio State is finalizing a deal to hire Patricia as the school's new DC, mentioning the longtime head coach of the Lions and DC, more importantly, with the Patriots. So give me your one-word reaction to the hiring of Matt Patricia as defensive coordinator. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Now, we did a lot of precursor stuff to this on, it was Monday, right? Was it Monday? Tuesday? I don't know. The days all blur together for me these days. Discussing when it first became reported that Patricia was a potential candidate for the Ohio State Buckeyes defensive coordinator role. Now, it's definitely Monday, now I think about it. My one word is interesting, because this is not someone that I had really thought was going to be a top candidate. He was out of coaching this past year. He hasn't done defensive coordinator work, kind of with Philadelphia, but then was the Lions and was coaching the offense for New England a little bit. Clearly, I think this is one where you have to trust Ryan Day. I haven't seen Patricia do a great job defensively outside of the Bill Belichick umbrella. There's a very small window in which he's been involved in that, though, so you don't really have a great feel for it either way. I am inclined to give Ryan Day that trust, because I think he's earned it with the moves he's made coming off a national championship. But this is when you go, okay, kind of side-eyed a little bit. Okay, let's see how this goes. I think there's more variation, upside, downside. You know, we've seen more NFL coaches put their toe in the water in the collegiate ranks. I mean, look at that team up north, right? They're going with the Wink Martindale setup, which I think, worked out fine, relatively speaking, from this past year. This one it's interesting. I am moderately concerned about it, because I think there is downside of it not going very well, or it works wonders and it all works out at the end because it's the Buckeyes and they got the best talent. So I want you guys to instant reaction grade the hire of Matt Patricia as the Buckeyes' new DC. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section. Today's show, it's the pinned comment, by the way, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Patricia's career, it is kind of a tale of two halves almost on screen, the left side and the right side. The right side, it makes sense. He actually was an assistant O-line coach for a little bit, then becomes the linebackers coach, becomes the safeties coach, is then the defensive coordinator for New England. And that's a pretty normal career path. You work your way up the coaching ladder. You spend several years as a DC under one of, I think, the greatest defensive minds ever in football, in Bill Belichick. And then you become the Lions head coach. And it doesn't go well. And in part because we have never seen the Patriot way work at any point outside of New England. It simply does not work. It has never worked. And the Lions, frankly, got worse as things went along. They got continuously worse, and they were a near playoff team. They try to blow it up, do it in their image. It doesn't go very well. Belichick can try to credit all he wants to for the Lions, for Patricia laying the groundwork. It's not the case at all. After his career with the Detroit Lions, Patricia then went back to New England. He was a senior advisor for the Patriots in kind of you got fired, it's the Bill Belichick school for coaches who can't coach, go on to learn to do other stuff good too. Was the O-line coach in 2022, which was just part of like a Belichick, I think, at times kind of losing the plot coaching staff-wise. And then Eagles senior defensive assistant in 2023, did take over play calling down the stretch. That was when the Eagles coaching staff was kind of a mess to an extent, so don't blame him that much. But just spent this past year out of coaching. He was not involved. The last time he was in college, though, was all the way back as a GA at Syracuse back in 2001, 2003. So if you have concerns about Patricia as a college DC, I think they're valid. There were plenty of good stuff he did as well back in New England, too, or as a defensive coordinator, but it is going to be different this time. Hopefully for the better, but should be different. So do you like this hire? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I am curious how this will all play out in the end. Like maybe there's back and reporting of what Ryan Day tried to do. He had been linked to Joe Cullen. That was a very popular rumor for about 72 hours, and then it kind of died off. Randy Bates had been linked as the former Ohio State alumnus, by the way, now the Pitt DC. There were other big names that were speculatively connected. Who knows if they actually reached out or how close things got going there. There were also the internal candidates, Tim Walton, McCrary, Coach G, the secondary side of it. And they are going to be involved still. And as we had kind of suggested on our Monday video, there is a co-DC. It's actually Tim Walton who is getting that co-defensive coordinator title. He was the secondaries coach. I would assume he probably keeps that title, at least to an extent. But they are going to give him the co-DC title. And then Coach G getting promoted to the passing game coordinator on defense as well. When Buckeyes news happens, we have you covered. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/GoBucks for more Ohio State football YouTube videos right here, all for free on the channel. So as it sits right now, and there will probably be some lower level assistants, analysts, different GAs, whatnot, that kind of get shuffled out on a pretty consistent basis. This is the Ohio State coaching staff. McCrary is the passing game coordinator. We'll see if he keeps the safeties title or not. That's almost doesn't matter because that's going to be his role. Larry Johnson will stay as the defensive line coach. Every now and then you see someone hate on Larry Johnson, and I don't really get it. I think he's the best defensive line coach in all of college football. He's not a DC, but he does his particular job at the highest of levels. James Laurinaitis, the longtime NFL player, former, of course, great OSU linebacker. He will stay as the linebackers coach. And Tim Walton will now, I think he keeps that secondary coach title probably, but again, he's the co-DC, sticking in the same role basically. Like his role is not going to change that drastically. Like he's going to have the title, which Ryan Day clearly loves doing, but he's going to be the secondaries coach in the end. And then, of course, Matt Patricia sticks or joins the staff as the new defensive coordinator. I am curious how this one goes. I think there is a downside involved here of, maybe he is just there's a chance he's just a Bill Belichick merchant. We've seen it before. Not everyone is. Brian Flores is certainly not that if you pay attention to the NFL and what he's done with the Minnesota Vikings in the end. But I do think, Patricia, there is a stigma attached. Fair or not, I think there is that of the Lions guy, the rocket scientist who wasn't that good. I think those are real concerns to have. But in the end, I think Ryan Day's earned some trust.